Today's event is what we call the Governor's Export Summit. This is the first time that we're doing an event like this. We have in the past done similar events. What's unique about this event is that we, instead of just doing presentations in a conference or seminar setting, we are using what we call the one-on-one setting. So companies from Mississippi interested in exporting, or companies that are already exporting that want to expand their business abroad, are meeting one-on-one with facilitators in international business. These facilitators go all the way from freight forwarders to banking, finance, marketing, web designing, and an array of facilitators, even translation, and including government officials or government entities that are practicing the international trade arena. We are here to give resources and to offer resources and let the companies know in Mississippi what's available for them to export and make it a little easier for them.
Why has Mississippi been so successful in the export business already?
It's just hard work. We are people who show up on time, we give a good day's work, we make a really good product, and that's what people overseas are looking for. We have a great ability to deliver it on time, and then we have customer service. And so those are the things that work not only here at home, but around the world.
What types of things are they doing here today?
So we have different activities around this event. The first event happening right now is what we call the one-on-one with the facilitators and the companies. So facilitators and exporters getting together, meeting one-on-one. Every 20 minutes we rotate from one facilitator to the next. After this, we have been doing this for a couple hours already, so it's going to be around 3 hours. After here, we're going to go into the luncheon. In the luncheon, we're going to hear from 3 different presentations. One will be about the funding availability for companies in the state for international trade, available through the International Trade Office and the STEP grant. The other presentation will be a testimonial from an exporter in Mississippi that we have assisted and worked with. He's going to share his pretty much his experience with international trade, success and challenges. And then our governor is going to give remarks on the important and impact of international trade and exporting for the state, because when companies export and they increase their sales, then they have to hire more people. So we create new jobs for the state through international trade, and we also retain jobs because of international trade and exporting.
What are the current goals for Mississippi to get to in international trade?
Actually, we have been doing international trade for over 35 years. Our office has been in place for many, many years. We are more active than we've ever been because of different reasons. One of them, of course, is additional funding through the STEP grant that we pass directly to the companies. So we have a traffic of companies higher than we have in the past because they're able to travel abroad and do marketing with those funds that we have through the STEP grant. We also have gotten very creative in markets where we need to be in taking delegations to do business, markets that were not as well known in the past that are now because their economies are growing, their middle class is growing, and also in consuming, of course. And by consuming, you have a lot more exports being produced, and also because of the free trade agreements that the U.S. has in place with many, many countries around the world. In 2003, BioSol Enhancers began developing its SumaGrow products. After 3 years of informal testing, 3 more years of extensive greenhouse testing, and testing on more than 200 outdoor test plots, SumaGrow hit the market in 2010. Since that time, BioSol Enhancers, SumaGrow, has been used on thousands of farms under real-world conditions. Its award-winning microbial technology increases crop quality and yields while decreasing chemical fertilizer inputs. In 2014, the company was ranked second on the Inc. 500 list of fastest-growing U.S. companies for the state of Mississippi, and number 4 overall for manufacturing. Inc. 500 also ranked BioSol Enhancers number 297 out of the top 5,000 companies in the U.S. BioSol is exporting to more than 50 countries around the world. Their most recent achievement, Governor's Excellence in Exporting Award for 2014. Now, isn't this a great story? And right here in Mississippi. Now, here's the best part. The best part I have today is to introduce to you the leader of BioSol Enhancers, Wayne Wade, a visionary and humble and super energetic individual, truly committed not only to his community, to his company and team, but also to the state of Mississippi. A businessman with whom I had the pleasure to work with, travel with around the globe, and most importantly, share our common love and passion for Mississippi. Please help me welcome Wayne Wade.
I guess before I go forward too far, I'll talk just a little bit about the past, okay? Because the one thing I've learned in life is this: it's not where we come from so much, it's not even where we are, but it's what we're becoming. That's what to me success in life is all about. It's what each of us are becoming. Because every person in this room has one God-given gift that no one else has. It's yours. Whether we use it, okay, and whether we invest it, it's up to each of us. And so we'll start with this. A few years ago, before 2003, okay, we had a pretty successful business. My partner, and I'd like to introduce my partner, Lou Elwell. Okay, would you wave, please? Okay. And our Director of Regulations, Sean, would you raise your hand? Our Director of International Development is sick today, and she was not able to come. But going back to where I started, in the early days, we used to grow microbial products for waste remediation. We had in fact, we had exactly 47 franchises in some 37 states. That was very difficult to build, very tough. Working in a franchise environment is not easy. And so we were doing pretty well, and we thought we kind of had it there, and we were getting to a place where maybe we can be comfortable. And then along came Katrina. Katrina took our building roof. It damaged it to the extent that we could no longer grow microbes. We lost our business, we lost our clients, and we had some really serious decisions to make at that time. Do we fold a towel, throw it in, suck it in, and go forward? Well, prior to that, as Rose said, we had started our first field test in 2003 because we noticed sometimes when we were working with some minor oil spills or something that when we cleaned it up, we noticed a flush green growth of grass. And we had to stop and think. So if we're working with a waste treatment plant, and if we're working with proteins and breaking proteins into amino acids, or we're working with carbohydrates and breaking the carbohydrates into simple sugars, what's going on in the soil? It's got to be the same mechanics. Different microbes, same mechanics. So we made a trip to work with one of our scientists that we had been working with for many years, and in fact in Michigan. He had helped us develop products for remediation and some other things that we were doing. But I spent 3 days with him, and we talked. He said, "Wayne, what do you want to accomplish?" I said, what we really want to accomplish is we want to make a product to enhance the soil. We want to use our microbes and our ability to grow products, these type of products, okay, to help farmers and work with farmers. He said, "But what do you want to accomplish? What does that mean?" I said, "Well, first we have to be able to increase yields, because if we don't increase yields, the farmers are going to throw us off. Not going to work." I said, "We need better water holding capacity, because I believe water is one of our great assets today that's in peril." We wanted a faster maturity rate if we could get it. We wanted definitely, okay, to be able to reduce inputs, to reduce fertilizers, NPKs. We're not against NPKs, okay, but we do know that they're widely overused. And you don't have to look any further than the mouth of the Mississippi River, where we have one of the greatest dead zones in the world, to figure that one out. So at the end of that third day, at the second day, he came to me and said, "Let me make some phone calls tonight, and I'll get back to you tomorrow." Well, I kind of dreaded tomorrow. So we got back together, and he came to me and he said, "I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll help you But you've got to, if you're willing to move this scientist from Guyana here to Michigan to work with me, I need her 3 years. I said, what's it going to cost me? He said, well, a couple of hundred, maybe a little more every year. I said, you got to be kidding. I didn't know where I was going to get $2,000, much less $200,000 at the time, because, man, we was broke. So I come back, and Lou and I put our heads together, and we decided, you know, we'll figure it out, we'll do it. So signed the agreement, and we went to work. So what I did, I took the front porch of my house, converted it to an office, kept one of our original scientists, and it required that she drive me Gulf Coast and back every single day and be there about daylight. Big commitment. I kept a couple of the other guys there for a little while, and we spent one of the longest, hottest summers in our life doing over 200 test plots. But this was a double-blind study. We had no idea which was which or what was what. So I told Lou, and I said, Lou, we got to have more money. I can't raise money and do this. You're going to have to find some somewhere. He said, where? I said, I don't care. Just get it. And so if you're an entrepreneur, you've been there and you've done this. Because that's really what it's about, right? But I'll fast forward that a little bit. This was a double-blind study, and pretty soon we could see the difference, all right? A major difference. And I told Lou, I said, just drive the potentials through here. You bring the bears through the cabin and I'll skin them. So we get people out to these test plots and show them what was going on, and Lou would talk them out of a few more dollars. And we could keep going. I'll fast forward another year or two, and we're still working and going, you know. I've mortgaged the farm, the house, the property, truck a couple of times, you know. And you go back to getting paid. Now, what's it worth? How big is your belief? And so it has to be big and your commitment strong. But I'm telling you, people talk about, well, you know, what were you getting paid? We were talking on the way up here. Our first checks were minus salaries. They weren't checks. They were minus salaries. A few years later, we were able to have no salary. You know, you make sure your employees get paid, but you don't. But you're not having to borrow money every time. But if I could fast forward you here for a few years, we can fast forward, okay, as Rose was talking, to about to 2011. Okay, things had really turned around by that time. And so we're growing at a pretty fast rate, but, you know, not as fast as you want to. And one of our biggest challenges in this business was the summer dips. March, April, and May was great. It was fantastic. March, April, May, and we thought, man, we're going to do well. This is going to be a great year. And guess what? Come the end of June, sales just plummeted because people don't buy fertilizer after that. They're not looking for other inputs for their crops. So, you know, we got to figure this one out. Something's got to change. Then we landed one of our first contracts in Latin America. And the light came on. This works. This will work. So by the year 2011 or so, all right, we were doing fairly well. At least it's growing fairly fast. But growth is expensive. And so you have to figure things out. Working with the Mississippi Development people, we were able to go to South America, to Latin America. And again, these guys are great. When you have someone vet your clients, vet your potentials, provide you with interpreters, provide you with a driver, okay, and you have the credibility, okay, of this type of credibility. If you can't close a sale, you know, let me go in your place because this works. And I guarantee you, when you do these type of things, these same people will follow you home to do business with you. So it does make a difference. The first year that we were introduced, that we won the Inc. 500, okay, we were actually number 2 in the state of Mississippi. We're number 1 in the state of Mississippi, 2 in the nation. The following year, we were number 4. Okay, in the nation, and number 2 in the state of Mississippi overall. So things were changing fairly fast. But let me go back, and if we back up just a little bit. That first year, about 20% of our market income was international. Okay, the first year that we won the Inc. 500 award. The following year, last year, okay, was about 40%. About 40% of our business was international. This year, okay, by the end of the year, we will have achieved at least 60% of our market will be international this year. And that is fantastic. We are projecting right now that within the next 12 months, if we look at 12 months from today, at least 80% of our business will be international business. And so we were talking the other day, right now we're scrambling to see how we can ramp up production every day. How are we going to get there? How are we going to meet demand? And so that's a different problem than we had earlier. It's a big difference. And it's a good challenge, but it's a tough one too. Because we figure right now we're one country away from not being able to keep up with demand. And that's exciting, believe it or not. So, what are the advantages? If you look back, so what are the real advantages of becoming an international company or working internationally? Well, number one is simple. You expand your marketplace because, again, we had to figure out how to get rid of those dips in our sales. Because if your business is seasonal at all, and most businesses are somewhat seasonal, this is an excellent opportunity, okay, to level out those revenues. It makes a big difference. And I can tell you that had we not gone international, I don't know if we'd be here now at all. And I'm not talking about here on this stage. I'm talking about I don't know if we'd be here because it does make a difference. There are many, many advantages. Number one, okay, you're expanding your marketplace. Number two, all right, you're leveling out your revenues, or at least you're growing your revenues instead of worrying about dips and funnels. Number three, you're introducing yourself to a pool of talent that you would never meet or never be introduced to if you don't do that. We're working with some of the most fantastic scientists in some of the most different countries around the globe, and that makes a difference. These are our partners now. And so every time that we travel, even from state to state to state, all right, we're meeting new people. We're expanding our gray matter. We're expanding our ability, okay, to create new product and move forward. And doesn't matter to me what business you're in, that's going to happen for you as well. And think of this, all right? Think of this. What is the balance of the trade balance, okay, in the U.S. today? We import far too much product. The strong dollar today, prevents most of the people from doing business with them. We export day by day by day, but are we, So we're working with that balance, that trade balance. So we can be a part of this global thing. We can be, a part of the community. But the big thing is, to me, is this. We have an opportunity to make a significant difference in the world. A significant difference. Our largest client today is the country of Vietnam. In Vietnam right now, we're able to reclaim land that they previously could not grow crops on. We're able to reclaim property on lots of land, okay, that's much needed. Our arable land around the globe is diminishing very fast. Even in the country of China today, the fastest growing crop or business is concrete. All right? So as these third world countries become industrialized, they expand. But we're losing our arable land. And equally as important, we're losing the importance of our good soil, our good land today. And so for us, okay, we're here because we feel like that we can make a significant difference in what we do. And it doesn't matter what product you sell. When you create a business overseas, you're creating jobs, a meaningful difference for people. There are places in Latin America where the most endangered, okay, where the most endangered products is like a John Deere tractor. We do a lot of work with Dole and Magdalena and companies like that in Latin America and places. And they'll tell you, if you leave a tractor in the field overnight on a week, they'll probably burn it. Why? Because it takes jobs. So a lot of these companies like Dole have said, you know, the machete's not bad. Keep your job. And so, but another great thing about working international is this, about expanding, is you create your own ability to go viral. Think of this. We're working right now with Dole, Magdalena, all right, Del Monte, Driscoll, companies like this are in other countries. How many other countries are they in? How many other countries are they in? And so they become that conduit to carry our product, okay, to all these other different many places. So we could talk all day long about the advantages of being international. But until and unless you're taking advantage of this opportunity, okay, it won't matter much. So if you want to make, and I think this, and I think this is important for all of us, you can make a significant difference by reaching out. We make a significant difference in more than one way, all right? There's a lot of unrest in the world today. But when you're there shaking hands and talking and being who you are, creating jobs, all right, you're making a meaningful difference. When you help feed a family, you're making a meaningful difference. And so it's up to us, all right? I got it. He told me to cut it off. All right. So before I sit down, I want to thank the governor and Mississippi Development people, okay, the ADP, and all of you wonderful people that have given us this opportunity. I love you. You're wonderful folks. And I encourage all of you guys to take advantage of the advantage. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Wayne. That was great. We appreciate you sharing your international experience with all of us today. I think it's very important to hear from one of you in their experience. Next, I would like to talk to you about some of the resources available to you, the companies. And especially, I would like to show you where the money is. This is a part of my job I love the most, I'll tell you. Being Santa Claus all year long. I cannot do it at home with my child, but I can do it with y'all. It's actually awesome to be able to pass funds directly to companies that qualify for our STEP grant. And I will be talking in a minute and very quickly, but please, if you don't get all the information you need today, because by the time my boss, the governor, arrives, I need to finish what I'm saying, introduce him, because you want to hear what he has to say. But we are here. You know our phone number and emails, so please call us and let us know what kind of information you need in case we don't get to all the details today. But the bottom line is the STEP grant is an amazing program. But we must compete with 50 other states and the U.S. territories annually. We have been fortunate, though, that we have been awarded this grant every year since its beginning in 2011. So we are now in the process of applying for the year 4 of STEP. This is for qualifying companies and small, medium-sized companies, which I can tell you, all of you in this room pretty much do. And 2015, 2016 is coming up, May the 20th. So we are working on that right now. We hope to be awarded another round so we can share it with you, our Mississippi companies. So let's get started. Okay, so where is the money? Where is the assistance? These are a few tips that I can tell you after many years in this field. So let's talk about quickly why is importing or exporting important, okay? It provides, I think Wayne had gone over all this already. It provides economic growth and sustainability. It's positive environment for employees and companies' benefits, and it enhances our workforce here. Plus, if I was to ask you, what do you think is the percentage of consumers outside of the U.S.? Now, if you know the answer, please don't say it. But give me a percentage. Anybody? Consumers outside of the U.S., what's the percentage of it? 5%, 10%, 20%, 50%? What is it? 80? You close, but still higher than that. 96 or 97% of the world's consumer. So now think about it for a minute. So you must diversify if you have a product that has potential overseas. Okay, so what are some of the challenges? Because I will tell you it's not easy. It's possible, but it's not easy, and it takes time, okay? So patience and determination, commitment are key for this process. So fear of the unknown. What? Vietnam? Come on, Peru? I don't speak the language. How do I do it? How do I ship it? How do I get paid, right? Documentation. Oh, my goodness. Certificate of origin? What the heck is that? How do I do that? Who's going to complete it? What if I go to jail if I don't do it correctly? Blah, blah, blah. So, as you can imagine, it's kind of scary. Marketing? How do I do marketing in another language on the other side of the world? How do I get paid? I want my money now because once it's out of the U.S., I tell you what, forget it. You won't collect unless you already have it. Or that person has pretty good experience and good credit and you get it. But once it's out of here, you have no control of it, okay? So how do we do that? What about time and resources, commitment to those things? Because you have already a domestic market here. How am I going to do 95% of the world, 96, 97% of the world out there that needs my products and I want to ship there too when I'm already doing my domestic? Do I need to hire another person to do my international? Do I need to hire a consultant? How do I do this?